All right, we'll try this again without me ranting.
He did. Of course he did. A guy that says, look, we're going to shut it down for these billionaires. We're going to seize the money, and we're going to make sure that people can afford to get on a bus to go to work, can afford to have health care for their kids, child care for their kids. We're going to do whatever we need to do. There are some grocery stores that said, look, Mondami, Mr. Socialist, if you become mayor, we're leaving. You know what he said? Wonderful. We'll take over your grocery space. And we'll put in a government-run grocery store where people can afford things. Where people can afford groceries. These people are screwing you. Making money hand over fist because they can. Because they've run out all the mom and pop shops.
He is not wrong.
They have run out all of the competition and made anyone who even tries to compete have to pay exorbitant costs. Why? Because they own government. They own government, and what do you do when the government taxes you out of business, regulates you out of business, makes you wait for months on approvals, forces you to pay exorbitant insurance rates? You have to get licensed year after year after year. They tell you who you can hire, who you can't hire, under what circumstances you can and can't hire those people, who you can and can't serve. But we're not a socialist country, are we?
Right there. Mic drop for him. Shout out Florida Maquis. I'll definitely be linking. This is totally true. And it's kind of funny because a lot of Americans think that we have like this capitalist country, and like they have no idea how much the government is already involved in everything. And to the extent that it isn't, these extremely large corporations own the government, and they basically crowd you out of doing anything almost. It's not like a taco cart. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it's almost that bad. And I've seen it. It's been getting worse and worse and worse with that. Like the sort of it's corporatism, it's this and that. Well, whatever. They're using the government to do it. They own the government, and then you can't compete because you can't hire the lawyers, you can't figure out the taxes. Getting approved takes longer for you because you didn't bribe the right person. Um, Insurance, licensing, etc. On and on it goes. Shout out, 100%. And for a small anecdote, um, in like 2020, like February, uh, it was like when Bernie Sanders was on the primary, and it looked like he might have had a chance or something. All these guys that I knew who were like on Social Security, they were like talking all this smack about him, like he's a communist. And I'm like, you guys realize that like you're a socialist? And they're like, no, well, I paid into that. And I'm like, well, that didn't mean it's not socialism. It has to be paid for, and you're living off of the younger generation of workers. I'm like, but I paid, and they don't really understand the structure of how it was paid for over the years. It's salvageable. Social Security is salvageable, but it's got problems. But anyway, the ironic part was their definition was that socialism is just getting money to do nothing. And then the minute the Rona stuff happened, they like were so eager to get their checks from the government and all this nonsense and money that was just thrown around like candy. Um, you know, it was ridiculous. People were paid like money, I think, for a year and a half to like literally do nothing, and it was okay because their T man did it. So, shout out again to Florida Maki. This is a great video. I recommend people watch it in full, and because it's not like he's advocating for this. He's just saying like he's surprised it didn't happen sooner. Because of just our capitalist system is not perfect either. So, um, very good on you, and I will Stop it.